Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. I'm your host, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode. I seriously support all of your support. I seriously support all of your support. I seriously am so grateful for all of your support in any way. If that's a view, a like, a subscribe, anything possible. I am so grateful for everything. This is a full episode of the Storytime Society, and if you could give me a like and subscribe, and as always, comment down below. Let me know your questions, comments, concerns, deepest, darkest thoughts, because we love to chat. Okay, get your drink out and let's get ready for Storytime Society. This may just look like water, but it actually has like a coconut little mix in it, like one of those water mixes. I don't know, I got them on TikTok and this one is really good. They're actually all really good that I've tried so far, but then I realized after I drank them that some of them, the ones that have coloring, have like blue 1 and red 40 and yellow 5 or whatever those things are. But yeah, so I was kind of sad about that, but some of them don't have it, so it's okay. But let's get right into the episode. Okay, the first story is titled, Am I the Asshole for Confronting My Boyfriend About Lending His Ex Money? I, female 28, have been with my boyfriend, male 28, for almost 6 years now. He's really great. He's really great, sweet, patient, thoughtful. We rarely fight. And when we do have misunderstandings, we're quick to sort them out. We also live together and share on the expenses, but still have our own separate money. Now, his ex before me, they were together for about a year after he started university. They had a pretty toxic relationship, and he had already ended up in trouble academically trying to manage her mental health struggles. He ended things after she cheated on him for the second time. He blocked her at first and did not entertain any attempts to get back together. We were already talking at this point. He unblocked her after a year. He doesn't like holding grudges, and since then, she'd hit him up on his birthday, Christmas, New Year's, etc. to send greetings. She's gotten bolder since the pandemic, even commenting how happy me and my boyfriend, look in our pictures on social media. He'd then say thanks or greet back. My boyfriend is very transparent about these things, and I'm generally unbothered. I didn't ask him if replying to her, even if dryly, might be doing more harm than good. She might think it's okay to keep talking to him, which would then be something I will be bothered by. He said I was right and promised not to respond at all anymore. Now, a week ago, while we were out, he mentioned how his ex hit him up the day before asking for money. He asked what for, and she said she got kicked out, disowned, and recently landed in the hospital again for mental health troubles, and so she needed money to pay bills. I thought, well, tough. I had an ex cheat on me too, and I'm not lending him a dime, even if he fell on hard times. My boyfriend doesn't share the sentiment. He said he lent her $500 and isn't expecting it back. He didn't open her message explaining what happened, though, nor does he plan to reply. He just sent her money, and that was it. I genuinely didn't think much of it at the time, but a week later, it was still nagging at me. I think it all boils down to this. It annoys me that he would help someone who once screwed him over and continues to try to be friends with him, despite being very clearly in a relationship. I feel like this also breaks his promise of not entertaining anything from her at all, even if he has good intentions. I finally decided to confront my boyfriend about this after he got off work. He said he understands where I'm coming from, but that respectfully, he can decide what to do with his money. I told him pretty much everything here, but we ended up at an impasse with neither one backing down. I feel by talking about this, I've created some weird tension that neither of us know how to resolve fully. There's just such a huge fundamental difference in how we'd tackle this situation that I also wonder if I'm maybe projecting in some way. Am I the asshole and should I just drop this? Just like the fact that I don't really understand, like, I don't think that if you're in a relationship, you should ever be entertaining your ex. Like, it doesn't really matter what kind of situation they're in, even if they didn't cheat on you, you're in a relationship. So respect your relationship and move on. Like, stop. If your ex is going to keep reaching out, block them. Like, block them. I don't really understand the point in talking to your ex. Like, what are you guys going to be best friends forever? because you know that's not ever going to happen. Like, you know that that's never going to work. And if you want your relationship to be healthy and to continue on a good path, then messaging and talking to your ex and responding and stuff like that is not going to help. Also, lending $500 is actually insane to me. Like, please give me that. Give me that $500. What the hell? Like, excuse me? I would love to have a $500 shopping trip. Thank you very much. I mean, I know that like she's on like, she's landed in hard times and she has struggles and stuff, but like that is not his responsibility anymore. He is not in a relationship with her anymore. And although it's sad, yes, that she's struggling, okay, like sorry, but that does not mean that he is responsible for that, especially because he's in a new relationship. And I think it's really disrespectful. If my boyfriend was like, oh yeah, I gave my ex-girlfriend $500, I would be like, wait, what? I would be shook. I'd be like, what? Like, huh? That makes absolutely no sense. Why did you do that? And why did you feel comfortable doing that? Like, also, why did she feel comfortable enough to ask for that money? That's insane to me. I would never ask my ex, hi, I actually really need $500. Can you please give me $500? I know that you're like engaged, but like, can you please give me $500 because I'm struggling? No, that's not what's going to happen. Okay. And I'm not even saying that from like an entitled standpoint because no, not in any point of my life, even up until now, have I ever been like entitled or in any way. Like, I have always made my own way with my life and gotten my, like, somehow always figured it out and had resources. And like, even at times where I probably shouldn't have been able to pay rent and I probably shouldn't have been able to pay my bills and I was in like a tough spot, but I always somehow figured it out. And I'm not saying that to say like, oh, I'm better than this girl, but I'm just saying like I wouldn't be asking my ex that's in a full relationship for money. It's just a little odd. But okay, to each their own. Let's read some comments. It's weird. Not the asshole. It's weird that 6 years down the track, she's still as involved in his life as ever, and giving her money is disrespectful to you, given he didn't ask you how you felt on that and just did it. Yes, he may have been transparent to you, but it still doesn't sit right with me. If she's as bad as you say, she should have been out of his life a long time ago, and it sounds like she continues to manipulate him. This would be make or break for me. If he doesn't understand what he did was highly inappropriate, then maybe it's time to reevaluate things. Not the asshole, you did nothing wrong in sharing your feelings with him and about this toxic ex and his communication with her. He told you he promised not to respond to her anymore. But then he not only responds to her, he gives her $500. While it is his money to do with as he wishes, he also made a commitment to you that he broke. Your call on how you want to handle this, but handling it by telling him how it made you feel was a healthy response. Now you have to decide what to do going forward. You could stay with him and forgive him, you could stay with him and attach conditions, or you could leave him. Any of those would be justified. Yeah, not the asshole giving him the benefit of the doubt. Her thinks he's just being what? Her thinks he's just being a good friend. But honestly, it's weird. He had her blocked for as long as they were together. Not exactly friends, right? What he's done is set a precedent. This girl will forevermore be the third wheel in your relationship. He might not be thinking of it that way, but she sure as shit is. At the bare minimum, she sees him as someone she can use, just like she did when they were together. He has a right to do what he wants with his money, but you have a right to decide what you'll put up with from your partner. And for me, this would be a deal breaker. Yeah, I get that. Like, he's like, I have the right to do what I want with my money, which I understand because, like, you're not married. So, yeah, you're right about that. But also, that doesn't mean that I just have to be okay with it. Like, okay, yeah, you're right. You have the right to do whatever you want. Like, you do have the right, but I also don't have to put up with that. So, I can make that a boundary and be like, bye, see ya later. Hi, sorry to interrupt, but if you're listening on YouTube and you are trying to fall asleep or you're driving, go give us a follow on Spotify. And while you're there, if you could rate us stars, that would be amazing. Next story. The title is I was told I should not change my daughter's diapers. I, 37 male, am a medically retired military vet and a stay at home, work from home dad to 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl. I was talking to some parents at my oldest school about our kids. A few of us still have little ones in diapers, and we're just comparing our experiences. One mom, who I'm not familiar with, chimed in at some point that I shouldn't be changing my daughter's diapers because I'm a male, that my wife should be the one doing it. I have pretty thick skin, and it didn't really bother me at the time, but the more I think about it and how much I love my daughter and would never let anything bad happen to her, it's starting to really annoy me that she said something like that. I'm not going to try to bring it up to her if I see her again, which I will, but it makes me want to be less friendly to her. Edit, holy smokes, this post took off like I never expected. Thank you everyone for the kind words and validating my feelings and thoughts. I'd +1 everyone's kind comments, but there are too many. A virtual high five is going to have to suffice. Um, I've read a story like this. I don't know if I read it on here, but I have read a story like this about like how this mom's mom, so the grandma, said that the husband should not be changing the diapers, which is crazy because why are you marrying someone that you can't trust to change like your plural? It's both of your guys' baby. Why would you ever have a baby with someone that you couldn't trust to change your daughter's diaper? Like, I understand maybe not letting other like male family members or males in general change their diaper. Like, I can understand where that is coming from, but the father of the child, like, first of all, that's just, I mean, yeah, I understand that things can happen and things do happen, and which is so messed up that that's a thing in general, but it is, and that's just the reality that we live in. But I'm pretty sure that like they should be able to change their own daughter's diaper. Also, why would that be the case? Like, okay, now what? That's not only is it weird, but it's also making the mom, like, adding something to the mom's plate that the dad can't do, which he fully can do. And if you don't trust him to change your daughter's diaper, then you should. I mean, I guess this is like a completely not even a girl that's related to them or anything. So obviously it's like, I don't know, I guess does she not let her husband change her daughter's diaper? That's really weird. It's really weird that you can't trust your husband. But yeah, your father, the husband should be able to change the daughter's diaper. Like what? Okay, let's see. The comments. This sounds like the type of woman who would call the police on a strange man in the park who happens to be there with his children. My husband was a stay at home parent, and he would get upset at people who asked if he was babysitting. Oh, and he changed a lot more diapers than I did. This woman is toxic. That's the thing that I was talking about in a previous episode about how moms are just expected, like, this, like, in society the standards for moms is so different than for dads, and it's really crazy to me and it's really sad to me because a mom could be the best mother in the world. She could be type A number 1 parent, doing everything she possibly can, trying her hardest, yet she will still be mom shamed and like people will still say that she's not doing like a good job. But a dad is just seen walking their kid in a stroller, and this makes him dad of the fucking century. Like, dad of the year, because this man is just walking his daughter in a stroller or his son in a stroller, which is so insane and so needs to not be a thing. Because why is that the norm? Like, why can't it be equal? It's never equal, and that's so annoying. And that is why Me making sexist, in quotation marks, comments about men is, why is that? Like, I don't think that we are equal. So why are we acting like we are? Why are we pretending that we're equal? Because we surely aren't. So why is it a problem when I'm making like comments about men, but women get shit on all the time for not even just momhood, but so many other things. And I can't even make a singular comment about how a man is desperate and has less low standards for sexual partners. Sorry, what? No, I keep bringing that up, but like I'll never get over it because it's true. Sorry, not sorry. Hi, sorry to interrupt, but if you could press the subscribe button and the like button, that way I get pushed out to other people like you that like these types of videos. I would really, really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Let's see the other comments. When my son gets the comment about babysitting his daughters, he corrects them and says, I don't babysit, I parent my children. Yeah. Like, oh, you have to watch your kids? No, I'm just being a parent. Agreed. The opposite side of this coin is the unnecessary compliments. When my wife does a standard good parenting task, it's expected. When I do the same standard good parenting task, old ladies in stores compliment me for being such a good father. Guys have such a low bar. Exactly what I was just saying. Exactly. Like, it's actually insane the way that, why does it always fall on the mom? That's just furthering the stigma of moms always being like the single mom, and the men they're just like expected to walk out on the children. Like, it's not even that big of a deal. It's like, oh, your dad left you when you were like a baby and chose not to raise you. Okay. Like, no one looks at that as weird, but if it's like the mom did it, it's like, oh my God, you're such a good dad. Like, you took responsibility of your kids even though you're a single parent. But it's like moms just don't get any recognition for being single parents. They're just expected to take the babies and take responsibility of them without a father present. Like, it's just crazy to me. Women deserve better. Really, we do. We deserve better. And I know that like things have obviously gotten better. Like, thank God we can vote. But it's nowhere near being 100%. And I sadly don't think that I'll personally ever see the day that it is. And Lord knows if it ever will be, even after I die. Okay, next story. Am I the asshole for moving all of my daughter's belongings to my parents' house and leaving nothing for my husband's affair kid? Ooh. Am I the asshole for this? My husband told me Saturday that he'd had an affair and had a kid from it. Our kids are 14 months and oh, wait, sorry. Our kids are 14 male and 10 female, and this child is 9 female. Something happened to her mother in the last couple weeks. I was a little too busy screaming at him to listen to the details, and he was leaving to go get her. My daughter came to me crying, saying that he told her she had to share her room and her stuff with this girl for now. I called my parents, and they agreed to her staying in their guest room, a 2-bedroom condo, so my son and I are staying at the house. We packed her stuff, and Monday, my parents, sister, brother in law, and nephews helped us move all her stuff into my parents' place. They also helped put locks on my bedroom and my son's bedroom. We moved all my husband's stuff from my bedroom to the 4th bedroom that he used as a home office. And yesterday evening, my husband got home with his affair kid. He got mad about all the stuff being gone and nothing being left for her. She's from a much warmer area and doesn't have clothes for the cold here. We live in the northern part of the US. This morning, he caught me in the kitchen to complain to me about it again and said I was being cruel by not making my daughter share with her. Am I the asshole? No, you're not. You're not. Why, that kid's not, like, as obviously as bad as I feel for the daughter, it's obviously not her fault. Like, it's not her fault that her parents had her because of an affair. And it's really sad, but it's also not this woman's responsibility to, in any way, shape, or form, care for this affair baby. So it's your decision, what you want to do, and how you want to go about it. I don't think that it would be right to like treat her badly, but if this dad wants to have his daughter have things, then he needs to go buy the things for the daughter. Why should his other daughter just be expected to share everything with a random girl that she doesn't know? Like, she's a stranger for all they know right now. So I just don't really, I mean, I don't really think what's the bad thing? Like, sorry, I don't want my daughter to have to share all of her belongings with this girl. Why would that be a thing? And also, like, why should she have to share a room because you decided to have an affair? On the other hand of it, I also don't think that this little girl deserves, like, to be shat on or anything, but I'm just saying in the aspect of the relationship itself, like with the mom and the dad, husband and wife. Okay, some comments. I mean, definitely not the asshole for refusing to make your daughter share her belongings with your husband's affair child, but also, like, what is your ultimate game plan here? From the post, it sounds like you have completely relocated your daughter to her grandparents' house. Even if she gets to keep all her stuff with her, it's not fair to move her out of the home just to safeguard her belongings. Honestly, it sounds like you need to kick the husband to the curb and let him figure out how he needs to care for his affair child. If you intend to stay with the husband for some reason, then you need to seriously work through those logistics to ensure your daughter can come home and figure out how your husband's affair child factors into that equation. Yes, that is, I think that is going without being said because, like, obviously it's not right to have the daughter just have to live with her grandparents while her whole family is living in this house, and I can imagine how like terrible that would feel. I would feel, because you're just a little kid and like you don't really understand the true logistics of it, and you also just want to be like with your family. Although I'm sure she loves her grandparents, it's still really sad to almost be kicked out because of the daughter, but then like obviously the mom is trying to do right by her daughter because she doesn't want her to have to share her things. But then like there's this other side of it where it's also hurting her because it's like, "Oh, you have to go live with your grandparents now." You know, like you don't have another choice. You have to go live with your grandparents because this other girl's going to come and like take your spot. So I can see where that would be hard. Okay, OP said, I'm going to file for divorce. My plan right now is for my daughter to stay with my parents until he moves out or I move out. Who owns the house? Kick him out so you don't have to make it harder for your kids. OP said, both of us do, so I can't kick him out right now. I'll try to get it in the divorce, but we may end up selling. Someone said, don't move out until the division of assets is settled, or you can risk losing your claim by abandoning the family home. Is that real? Because someone I know is going through a divorce and they moved out, but they both moved out and they don't live there because the dad is renting their home that they have. So I don't know if that would be like, if that would also apply there. I don't know. I'm interested to see. I don't know what laws are in different places about divorce. I know like my in Iowa it's like, I'm pretty sure that if you have like, my dad said that if you have evidence of your partner or whatever like stalking you or harassing you, then the judge would just give the person that's being harassed and stalked like everything, basically, like all the marital assets. Like the house would be the wife's, say, if the husband was like stalking the wife and the wife had evidence and was like taking videos and pictures and stuff, because I was talking to him about that. And yeah, my dad said that it was like so quick and easy for him and my mom to get a divorce because they both wanted to get a divorce, which is so nice. And I'm not really sure. I don't think my mom got like alimony or anything, which is kind of crazy, but I think she kind of just wanted out of the marriage, and I think he did too cuz he ended up getting the house and like keeping everything. And we had to move in with, which is kind of crazy because my mom got like I would say like 70% custody. My dad, we had we were at his house every Thursday and every other weekend, which I feel like is not that much. And he got the house in the divorce, and my mom had to move out into an apartment. But like we had to live with my mom for most of the time. So I feel like the right thing would have been for my mom to get the house and for my dad to move out, because then like us kids could still live in our house for most of the time. But then after that, like we didn't live there that often because we weren't there that much. But I don't know how that went because I was only 4 years old. So they could have just like my mom might have just backed down and been like, "You take. I don't really care. Take it. I'm one out of this," which I think was the case because they were both finagling behind each other's backs. So, but to each their own. I mean, it cancels out, right? If you cheat on each other, it cancels out. No, I'm just kidding, but like kind of, because then it's like, oh, okay, so we're like on the same page here, right? We both don't want to like continue this relationship. I'm not saying that it's a good thing or it's right by any means, but then it's like at least one person didn't get like shaded and get like, oh my God, they betrayed me. They were both like fucking on each other behind each other's backs, so it's okay, you know? I would much rather that. Like, I would much rather that than just like be the one that got cheated on, and like I'm sitting over here delusional thinking that like I have the best marriage, and I'm maybe not even the best, but like I'm married and like we're loyal. But God only knows. Ooh. Okay, well, that's the story time segment. We are going to move on to our advice segment. So, if you want advice from me, then you can go in the description and click the advice little link. It's a Google form. It does not collect any personal information, not even an email, not even a username, literally nothing. But yeah. So, we're going to get started with this advice question, okay? I know this is like borderline not something I should be asking someone on the internet, but a couple years ago I talked to my doctor about some mental things I'd had going on, and she said that I did have anxiety and depression, but I decided I didn't want to be medicated, so I basically just ghosted the situation and tried to get better on my own. Well, I'm married now, and for a long time I thought I was doing good mentally. But lately I've been realizing that I'm overthinking and paranoid a lot. My husband takes the brunt of it because I was cheated on in past relationships and have trust issues because of it. My brain will take some little thing and just drag me down a rabbit hole where I start to convince myself that every small thing is suspicious, and I just go quiet because I don't know if I'm overthinking. And I don't want to talk about it if I am. But my husband obviously notices, and it takes a toll on our relationship. I don't know what to do. Does this even sound like something related to anxiety? There is definitely many other things that I overthink, but it affects my relationship the most. My husband has never done anything to make me distrustful in the time that we've been together, but it seems like this day and age, it's so hard to find a genuinely good and faithful man. So my brain is like, how do I know he's really who I think he is? We were friends for 7 years before, and I think I do know him quite well, but you never know. I guess since I know that you take an anxiety medication, I just want your take on this. Does it seem anxiety related, or do I just need to work through my issues? What I say to that is that I too resonate with this very much because this is literally me in a nutshell. And I did the same thing. I got diagnosed with depression when I was a sophomore in high school. And I decided, well, actually, I went to therapy a couple times, but then I was a sophomore in high school and like, girl, who's going to therapy? Not me. I'm going to a party next door and I'm going to drink 10 handles of vodka and keep the shots tracked on my arm with a Sharpie, okay? The next day I'm going to wake up and it's going to say I took 21 shots and I'm going to be like, what happened the night before? I don't know. Like, oh, I blacked out, So that didn't work out for me. But then I'm in college and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm still depressed and I'm still anxious. Why don't I try to go on medication again? So I go on medication again and I never, I took it twice, maybe three times. I don't know. And obviously it didn't work. So it was like, ugh, it's not working. I'm done. And, the doctor tells you it takes like 30 days, sometimes a little more, to actually start to see the effects of it. But of course, I didn't want to listen. And I was also in college, so I was also going to bars and taking 98 shots of tequila and then falling on the dance floor and getting kicked out and walked out by the security with my friend that was also doing the same. So, yeah, should I have been taking medicine? No, I was drinking way too much to even be able to handle medicine. But with that being said, on that tangent, um, I finally decided last year. It's probably been a year since I've been medicated. And before that, I had been to therapy for a year. I was going twice a week for a full year. And I was doing really well. But then once I like graduated therapy, and my therapist was like, okay, we're done here. Like, there's nothing more I can do for you. You are healed, which obviously is not true, but I was doing really well. But then, like, not having that support twice a week definitely was really hard for me and navigating like life. So after that, I was like, okay, I'll go on medication because one day I like woke up and I was like, wow, like my life this past couple years has actually been hell because no one else's fault other than my own. And it wasn't like anything was bad. It was just my mind that was, it's a chemical imbalance, like it truly is. And I would feel the same way. I, not even like, yes, I would feel like I would take a little thing and it would drag me down a rabbit hole. But sometimes it wouldn't even be like stemming from anything. It would just be a thought that pops up in my head. And then I would ruminate on that thought, even though it has zero truth to it. It has zero evidence to back it up, nothing. I would just make something up and then I would ruminate on that for so long. And oh my god, I can't even tell you like how much I overthought things, especially like if and I relate to this a lot with like your relationship. It definitely affected my relationship a lot. This is like why me and my boyfriend broke up in the first place. And then we've had issues like like a year and a half ago, like kind of I don't even know how, like a year into our relationship, I don't know. But we had those issues again before I was on medicine, and I would overthink things and I would be super anxious. And if he wasn't around, like I would think that he hated me. And like if he was just gone to work for the day, I would all day long, I'd be like, he hates me. He wants to break up. Like he is not, I don't know. I would just think the craziest things. And it was actually so insane. So finally, I woke up one day and I was like, okay, I'm scheduling a fucking telehealth because my brain needs help ASAP. And if I don't get help ASAP, then I'm never going to be able to be in a relationship that's healthy. And I think that what you're saying definitely sounds like anxiety. I don't think that it hurts to try to get on medication if you can and you have the ability to go see a therapist or not a therapist, a psychiatrist, right? Or a psychologist. Psychologist. I think it's a psychologist that prescribes medication. But if you have that ability, I would absolutely, because it's honestly one of the best things that I've ever done for myself. Ever since I started taking medicine, and like we obviously figured out adjusting my dosage and stuff, because at first I was on a lower dose of anxiety medication, and I'm also on depression medication, and my cocktail works very well for me, and I'm very lucky to have that happen. But yeah, so I got after a couple months of being on anxiety and depression medication, I got my anxiety medication upped like a good amount because I was still having a little bit of anxiety, but a lot of it did go away. And he was like saying how I shouldn't be having the anxiety that I'm having still with taking medication. And then after that, like, I am a new person. And like, obviously, that scares me a little bit because I don't want to have to be reliant on medicine. But at the same time, it's really nice to know that at least there's something that can help me feel better. And like, it's so much better to feel this way. Like the way that I also felt the same way, like I would just be like, is this anxiety or am I just like, do I just have issues? And I'm just like, don't trust anyone. I'm super insecure. I'm not confident. Like, am I just always going to be so anxious about like a relationship? And it's just because I'm in a relationship and I think that he's going to cheat on me. Like, I didn't really realize that, like, no, that is literally because I have mental health issues and I need to be medicated because my brain is not chemically balanced the way that it's supposed to be. And the medicine helps with that. So I'm so grateful and I would highly, highly recommend it. Obviously, I'm not saying like, medication is the first step. There's definitely other things you can do, but since you already obviously said that you've tried other things and it hasn't helped, because so did I, and it didn't help, I would really recommend getting on medication or trying to, especially if you've been diagnosed. It will be relatively easy. If you don't have insurance, GoodRx is really good for medication, like um, taking the price of medication down a lot. And yeah, I'm so happy I got on medication and so grateful that I don't feel that way anymore. Like, it makes me want to cry for my past self and how long I had to struggle with those thoughts and those feelings for so long. And like, there would be months where I would feel way better. And usually that would be months that I'd be working out a lot, but like, sometimes you just can't maintain that. And then sometimes you need like something else that can support you. And yeah, again, so grateful that I did that. Like, could not be happier because my brain needed that. And I was so against it for so long just because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be dependent on that. But like, after a while, you kind of just accept that you need to be dependent on it because that's just what has to happen to make you feel like a normal functioning person. So yeah, I hope that you figure that out. And I can't even tell you how much I relate to that and everything you said. Literally, I've gone through myself like step by step, and every single detail is so relatable to me. So I think that it would help a lot. And that's not to say that I'm like a perfect human being and I never have a bad thought ever. But the way that it's cut down by like 95%, and I can't believe that it's even possible to feel this way, is crazy. Like, I truly never thought that. I just thought that like this was a thing that humans do. Like, humans just feel this way, and that's just that, and that's just going to be that. And it's always going to be that way for me. But it's not, and it doesn't have to be. So go to your doctor, get the help that you need, try things. If it doesn't work, try a new thing. Let your doctor work through it with you, because if you have a good doctor, they will work through it with you and help you figure out what medication works best for you, because obviously medication is different for everyone and the dosage is different for everyone, and everybody's body is so different. So yeah, I highly recommend just putting yourself first and not thinking that there's something wrong with being on medication, because there isn't. And I would scream it from the rooftops because I am a healthy thinker now. And that is all thanks to being on a good medication. That sometimes maybe does make me a little bit dizzy in the morning, but honestly, it's worth it if I don't want to actually KMS every single day. Because there were like there'd be like 6 months at a time where I genuinely was just like, hit me with a car, please. Like, I beg of you. And I'm not even kidding. It's not even a joke. Like, I genuinely wanted to die and like was thinking about how I could and how like I wouldn't want to do it myself. I don't want to trigger anyone. I need to stop. But yeah, I thought about that very in depth for months, and then I would feel better for a few months, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm good. And then it would come back, and it'd be months of me just feeling that way. And that is not how you should feel. You should be able to enjoy your life and be able to have good thoughts and not terrible thoughts every single day. And I didn't even realize how bad it was until I got better. And then I think back to it and I'm like, wow, I can't believe like I settled for those type of thoughts in my brain. And I just thought that that was normal. But anyways, I love you guys and I'm so glad you're alive. Seriously. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning into my videos and leaving any type of comment because I love talking to you guys. And if you guys want to chat more, I have a Discord linked below. So, yeah, I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.